Hey everyone, this is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com, and today we're going to take a look at a fingerstyle technique called Tremelo. Now this is mostly used by classical guitar players, so you will usually see this played on a nylon string classical guitar, but why should they get to have all the fun? You know, this is a really nice technique to keep a sustaining melody on top of arpeggiated harmony. So I'm playing this on a steel string guitar. It's a little bit more difficult on a steel string guitar because mostly the strings on a nylon string are spaced further apart, which allows you to get your fingers in there and do finger picking a little bit easier. So if you have a nylon string, you may want to play it on that, at least initially, while you're trying to learn the technique. Or maybe you can get an acoustic guitar that's got a kind of a custom wider string spacing. But either way, you can get used to playing on a standard steel string or even an electric if you want. The technique is the same. So I've done a few exercises here. If you want to know, the piece that I was playing at the very beginning is the opening to a piece called Recuerdos de la Alhambra by Francisco Tárrega. It's a kind of a classical guitar piece. It's a great composer, and you should check it out. It's a really nice piece. But it uses this tremolo technique the entire way through. So that's what we're going to do today, and I have a tab PDF to go with this lesson where I'm going to show you some of the exercises that I think you should do and ways you should practice this technique in the beginning before you start tackling full pieces like the one I was playing earlier. So let's start it here. I'm going to hold a chord shape. I'm just going to hold a bar. I'm going to try to keep it pretty easy in the left hand. We're going to do a bar across the first, second, third, and fourth strings here. All right? Now, what the technique basically is the same pattern done over and over again. So you're going to use the thumb on a bass string. So let's pick the open A string here. Then you're going to have your ring finger pick the first string on the guitar. And then your middle finger, and then your index finger. So that's a series of 4 notes, done one after the other. All right, so the idea is to make them sound very even as possible, to create that illusion that it's a sustained note on top. So a way I kind of learned this back in my classical guitar days. I studied with some great classical instructors, one of them being Scott Tennant of the Los Angeles Guitar Quartet. And he gave me a good technique to practice this stuff. Now, what you do is, as you pick the thumb, you plant your ring finger on the first string, or whatever string you're going to be doing the tremolo on. So if you see my right hand here, as soon as I do the thumb, my ring finger is already on the string. So they kind of do it at the same time. So you're preparing that for the ring finger to pick, and then you pick the ring finger, and you can practice it by preparing all the fingers one after the other like that, and it'll give you a muted sound. So you have, and as soon as you pick that ring finger, the middle finger comes down and mutes the string. and then as soon as you do the middle finger, the index finger comes down. Now obviously that's not the sound that you want. As you get faster, what that does is that just synchronizes those fingers together in time. And you want to make sure you use the same point. You always have the same takeoff point and landing point on each fingertip each time. Get a nice sounding spot on the finger. And as you speed up, it doesn't sound so much like you're muting the notes anymore. It gives you a nice, clean, defined sound up top. So what I'm going to do here is the first exercise, we're going to move a melody note over this. We're going to pick the string, we're going to do that same pattern, but you're going to pick the first string at all time on the index with the 3 tremolo fingers, but you're going to pick the thumb across the strings like. So the thumb will first start on the 5th string, then the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, back to the 3rd, and the 4th. And then just do that over and over again. Now our next time through the strings, we're going to put the 3rd finger at the 4th fret, then the pinky at the 5th, back to the 4th, all right, now this technique can also be moved it to the 5th fret and do the same thing. And finally, move it up to the 12th. Now, it's important to move to different areas because the string tension changes, and you'll notice that it'll be more a little bit stiffer feel as you get higher up the neck. So you want to practice it up there too. So this, I'm going to bring the same shape up here in the left hand, but the first string you pick has to be the 6th string. We're going to skip the 5th string here, and then pick the 4th, 3rd. Okay, so that'll sound like this. Alright, so when you're doing the tremolo on the 1st string, it's a lot easier than when you're doing it on the 2nd string or the 3rd string. Because now you have to worry about not hitting, going over and hitting that open string. You have to be very accurate with the string that you're doing the tremolo on and rebounding. So it's very essential to practice that muting style first. We're over here on the 2nd string now. And I wrote another little exercise for you to practice with the notes on doing the tremolo on the 2nd string, and this is just going to keep the chords relatively simple too. It's in E minor. So that is just a simple little chord progression I have going here. And you just have to do the same exercises like you did on the 1st string. Keep it nice and even. So after this, just experiment with holding little harmonies down on anywhere on the neck, just a few notes and picking across strings. You'll notice that 2nd shape was a different picking pattern. I'm not going all the way across. I'm just kind of like from the 6th string to the 4th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd. So 4th string, 3rd, 4th, third, fourth. So that's just going 6, 4, 3, 4, 3. That's where the notes are happening there on the thumb. All right, so just do this and try to experiment with your own little phrases like this, or maybe pick up a tremolo tune. I might do that entire Recuerdos de Alhambra on the site if you guys request it enough. And I hope you guys have fun with it. It's a nice technique to add to your acoustic playing. All right, we'll see you guys soon with another lesson. Bye-bye.